Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. Government hands out land leases to ex-county workers. The third Distinguished Jurist Lecture on the relevance of juries in the English-speaking Caribbean. And in sports, Soca Warriors aiming for a win against Haiti in the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Thank you for joining us. To our top story, Prime Minister, the Honourable Kamla Bissessar, has committed her government to fulfill the promise to approximately 8,000 ex-Caroni workers who have been awaiting their lots of land following the closure of Caroni 1975 Limited.
Today, when you get your lease, and you go on the land that is now your own land, and give yourselves a round of applause. You now have a lease fee. When you touch the earth, you take a handful of earth from your land, from your place, and lift it up to the heavens. You can give thanks and reverence to the Almighty. All of this really emphasizes the significance of what we do today and what my government will continue to do in the months ahead. We are deeply committed to ensuring that every eligible recipient, every single former worker of Caroni receives what was promised and what we are now finally fulfilling.
The Honourable Prime Minister said she has mandated the Ministers of Finance and the Economy, Agriculture and Land and Marine Affairs to ensure that each of the 8,000 former Caroni workers receive their land as was promised. The Honourable Prime Minister noted that leases for lands represent the very fundamental demonstration of respect and regard for the proud persons who made contributions to the country's economic development. In 2002, the government of the day took a decision to close down the sugar industry, and as such, in July of 2003, an industrial court order committed the government to fulfilling the mandate of a voluntary separation of employment program.
This order provided for redress to some 8,000 to 9,000 former daily paid and monthly paid employees of Caroni Limited. Apart from the pension and monetary benefits of the VSEP agreement, the most significant commitment by the state then and the government then was the infrastructural development and delivery of residential service lots and 2-acre-sized agricultural plots to the former employees of Caroni Limited. But we have gone further. We don't just recognize the opportunity and responsibility as your government now to correct some of the failures of the past. And so the distribution of these plots of land is deeply aligned to motivated and propelled by a conscious commitment of our partnership government to a nation and national policy of prosperity for all. It is unprecedented by a primary philosophy of equality of opportunities, the eradication of poverty of all citizens, and trying to meet and develop people from the point of their need and their capacity in our nation. This is an abiding and fundamental underpinning of our vision as your government.
Prime Minister Persad says her government sees the provision of land and housing as being critical, not only to poverty reduction, but indeed to the core challenge of nation building. She affirmed that the government's land management program is active and vital on many fronts. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Hundreds of former Caroni 1975 Limited employees have received leases for lands owed to them. Minister of Housing, Land and Marine Affairs, Dr. the Honourable Roodal Moonilal, has handed out some of the leases personally to the workers.
The Housing Minister was on hand as 273 leases for residential lots and 132 leases for 2-acre agricultural plots were given to former Caroni 1975 workers. Describing today as a historic moment, Minister Moonilal says the government is eager to see how the lands contribute to the nation's development. He explains many ministries are collaborating to ensure this process reaps sustainable benefits for the entire nation. The minister expresses his belief that the ceremony signals more than the simple honoring of a commitment by the government. He describes the event as a tangible investment in human capital and an opportunity to promote and expand the capacity of the former employees.
Where the sugar fields were, we will have indeed agricultural production, we will have housing estates, we will have services developed in those housing estates for residential purposes, We are asking that we also provide lands through the various agencies for the establishment of small mini malls, establishment of businesses, because we want to encourage you not only to build your house, but to get involved in business development so that you can employ yourself, you can employ your children. A simple ceremony today is a major step in transforming your lives and bringing benefits to you, your families, and your communities.
Minister Moonilal promises the government is committed to ensuring the sugar workers who contributed immensely to the growth and development of the country are given their just dues.
We are now better poised to accelerate the issuance of leases to the former Caroni workers. Our increased institutional capacity is enhanced by the deepest commitment of this government to do what is right for you and thousands of other sugar workers throughout Central and South Trinidad. We will do all that is necessary to ensure that leases are developed for residential purposes and agricultural purposes. We are committed to providing each and every one of the 8,314 potential beneficiaries with the residential lots. I repeat that. We are committed to providing the 8,314 beneficiaries with residential lots. We are committed to providing the 3,346 beneficiaries with agricultural plots. We project by the end of this year, 1,717 residential leases and 1,185 agricultural leases will be distributed.
The Housing Minister also reveals that recipients of the leases will be given financial assistance to ensure they can construct their houses. This is just one of the many forms of assistance they will be offered by the government.
We wish to assure you that financing is available for former employees of Caroni 1975 Limited to initiate construction of houses on the residential service lots. We will authorize the Sugar Industry Labor Welfare Committee to provide financing to the former employees. The financing will be on the same terms and conditions which are now being made available by the Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Finance Company in its role as an approved mortgage company to provide and manage loans with a 2% mortgage arrangement for eligible applicants. That is a 2% loan from the Sugar Labor Welfare Committee to provide you with financing to build your homes in the event that you don't have money.
Persons with questions about their leases can go to Rienzi Complex in Couva and meet with representatives of the All Trinidad Sugar Workers Union. Legal services will also be provided to facilitate the paperwork on the execution of the leases. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
In other news, the National Infrastructure Development Company Limited and the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure are advising motorists and the traveling public to take note of roadworks along the Uriah Butler Highway North. The public notice indicates that during the weekends of Saturday 13th and Sunday 14th, Saturday 20th and Sunday 21st, and Saturday 27th and Sunday 28th July, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 6 p.m., milling and paving works will be carried out on the northbound and southbound lanes of the highway. Now, these works are being done to improve the asphalt pavement on these carriageways. Motorists are asked to reduce speed significantly, proceed with extreme caution, and observe all directional signs and barriers in the work area. Persons commuting in this area are also asked to follow the directions of the police officers who will be on site to facilitate the flow of traffic in an orderly manner. All precautions are being taken by NIDCO and its contractors to ensure proper health, safety, and environmental standards are maintained. When we come back, the third Distinguished Jurist Lecture. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Persons traveling along the North Coast Road are asked to proceed with caution as the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure undertakes a tree removal exercise. Now, a release from the ministry stated that the exercise will take place from Monday, July 15th to Wednesday, July 17th. According to the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, this is necessary in order to facilitate the removal of a large tree in the vicinity of the 7.2-kilometer mark, as well as other displaced trees along the North Coast Road. Motorists and the traveling public are advised to proceed with caution and observe all directional signs. Police officers will also be on site to facilitate the flow of traffic in an orderly manner. The Ministry of Works and Infrastructure regrets any inconvenience caused and thanks the public for its cooperation. For further information, you can refer to the ministry's website at www.mowt.gov.tt. In other news, the growing challenge faced by justice systems of the world when it comes to jurors coming into the court with preconceived notions on the case after having researched case information provided via the news and the internet. This was the topic highlighted in the third Distinguished Jurist Lecture, where featured speaker, the Honorable Sir Justice Marston Gibson, delivered his presentation on the relevance of the jury system in the English-speaking Caribbean.
Preconceived notions of a case arising from pre-trial publicity and possible seditious libel can ultimately affect court judgments. In the evolving times with technology and news at our fingertips, the potential such events can have on a trial and the jury members sitting on court matters can be disastrous for defendants or vice versa. This according to the guest speaker of this year's third Distinguished Jurist Lecture, hosted by the Trinidad and Tobago Judicial Education Institute, Sir Justice Marston Gibson, Chief Justice of Barbados. He highlighted the issue as one growing in popularity, something that needs to be taken into consideration by judicial systems of the world in its selection of jurors.
Trial by Google or Twitter or Tumblr or Facebook or Wikipedia, to say nothing of trial by YouTube, encapsulates the influence that the internet may have on jurors who either inadvertently encounter material or deliberately attempt to research the case on which they sit. It has the potential to become a serious problem that challenges our conception of a fair trial. The use of an internet search engine or social media platform by a juror has either led to the removal of a juror, halted a jury trial in the midst of proceedings, or caused a conviction to be set aside.
The relevance of trial by jury, one of the world's oldest forms of legal proceedings in the judicial system and forms part of the common law system followed here in Trinidad and Tobago, was also questioned during the lecture. Sir Marston underscored the significance of the jury here in the region as being an essential part of democracy within the judicial frame.
As opposed to a bench trial, that is, by a judge sitting alone, an accused in a jury trial is judged by ordinary people chosen from amongst society, not by a ruler or a leader or his appointed representative. Trial by jury therefore carries great symbolic value. Some would perhaps say greater symbolic value than practical significance. Use of this form of trial demonstrates that people are not accountable to the state in the form of an appointed judge, but responsible to their fellow citizens. As juries are constituted of randomly selected individuals taken from the community generally, who arrive to hear the matter without any vested interest, verdicts rendered by them may be considered to have been given by the people or the populace. Indeed, in proposing the abolition of jury trial, one British MP asserted that it was intended to modernize the justice system to rebalance it in favor of victims and witnesses, while still protecting the rights of defendants.
The issue comes up even as the Caribbean Court of Justice is pushed to be made the final appellate court of the CARICOM, and while fellow judicial luminary, former Bahamas C.J. Burton Hall, who sits at the UN International Criminal Tribunal Court, has counter-argued the need for trial by jury. The featured speaker in his address pointed out also to the economic burden this process has on the nation. However, he notes the cost of these legal proceedings as just one of the many inadequacies of the system.
The man who wants a jury has a bad case, as an old Australian judge said to me last year. I think there's a growing disbelief in the jury as an instrument for the discovery of truth. The use of it is to let a little popular prejudice into the administration of law in violation of their oath. Scrapping the jury, it has been argued in the UK, will save the government more than £120 million a year. The cost does not only include the money expended by the state to hold the trial, but the personal economic costs suffered by jurors hearing matters, particularly where those jurors are self-employed. The compensation offered by the state for jury duty does not come close to matching the actual economic loss suffered by the individual juror.
The lecture saw many distinguished legal luminaries in the audience, including His Excellency President Justice Anthony Carmona, Chief Justice Ivor Archie, and Legal Affairs Minister Prakash Ramadar. Kimberly Calawan, News 4.
All is in place for the annual general meeting of the state-owned National Flour Mills. This is the assurance coming from the company's outgoing board of directors as they meet with Minister of Trade and Industry and Investment, Senator the Honorable Vasant Bharat. Senator Barrett, in a press release, suggests his meeting with the outgoing board, including Chairman Jack Lee, or that should be Jacqueline Burgess, was fruitful. He reveals he has received confirmation that the organization's special shareholders meeting will take place as planned on July 26, 2013. In accordance with Cabinet's approval for the appointment of a new board, the new board will be revealed to shareholders and the public at the July 26th meeting. Senator Barrett, sharing some advice with the outgoing board members, urged them to always use the resources and assets of an organization to derive the best benefit for the advantage of all stakeholders. The Trade Minister is thanking the directors for their service on the board and reminding them that as long as they sit on a state board, they carry the responsibility of building this nation. When we come back, sport. Stay with us. With kickoff for Trinidad and Tobago's CONCACAF Gold Cup match against Haiti just minutes away, the Trinidad and Tobago team recognizes the importance of a win if they are to progress past the group stages.
News for Sports at the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Courtesy the Ministry of Sports and the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago. The last time the Trinidad and Tobago senior men's football team made it past the group stages of the CONCACAF Gold Cup was 13 years ago. On that occasion, the team managed a joint third-place finish with Peru. And although 13 is usually considered an unlucky number, midfielder Kaleem Highland believes that this year the team has what it takes to break the jinx and get into the next round. Highland, speaking in an interview from his hotel room in Miami, says the entire team is conscious of the importance of the Haiti game. A win for the Soca Warriors means they will be well placed to progress from the group stages, while the Haitians will surely return home disappointed. Highland insists Haiti's recent poor form is not a factor in the upcoming clash, and the Warriors will not take a win against their opponents for granted.
The group is wide open still. Tomorrow game is very important for us. We have to be focused and go into the game and give everything, because by winning tomorrow and by El Salvador losing, things will be open for us to go through to the next round. So I think it's a very important game, and we cannot underestimate Haiti because they are a very athletic team and willing to work.
Although their last game saw improvements in their playing style, Highland refuses to dwell on the Warriors' previous performance, saying all that matters is constant improvement.
The first game was very good for the first game in the competition. The guys, although we started off pretty good, and then we started sleep after we scored a goal, but the guys came out, they were willing to play football, passing it around from the back, building up, and when we get our chance, we take our chance, and unfortunately we couldn't win the game, but we're thankful for our point. El Salvador was a great team also, and we just have to look forward to the next game.
Well, it won't be difficult to spot that improvement, particularly with the man who took TNT to the 2006 World Cup, Leo Ben-Hacker, back on board with the national team. Highland believes the current coaching setup will restore the Soca Warriors to their former footballing glory days.
It's great, they have a lot of experience in this level, and with Leo Ben-Hacker also sharing his ideas when it's necessary, and it's good for the guys and for the younger ones also who is coming up to learn faster, and hopefully Trinidad and Tobago football can reach back to the level that it was and even go higher.
Trinidad and Tobago's second Group B CONCACAF Gold Cup match against Haiti kicks off at 7 o'clock tonight. Gregory McBurney, News 4 Sports. And the CONCACAF Gold Cup, courtesy the Ministry of Sports and the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago.
More news after the break. Stay with us. Video conferencing is being utilized by the Ministry of Local Government in an effort to save time and resources as the ministry boosts its operations.
The Ministry of Local Government is utilizing modern technology to further enhance its operations and communication connectivity. Dr. The Honorable Surjratan Rambichan launched a new and innovative video conferencing system hosting mayors, chairmen and CEOs from municipal corporations within Trinidad. A meeting was conducted in real time with the live audio and video streaming between Kent House and 8 municipal corporate headquarters in Trinidad. A release from the ministry stated that the video conferencing project is an initiative designed to establish an integrated video conferencing service to enhance the communications delivery capabilities at the Ministry of Local Government. The benefits to be derived by the ministry will be to facilitate real-time video conferencing and collaboration among staff across remote locations, the designing of a communications architecture that will significantly enhance internal and external communication, resulting in better informed citizens, the promotion of a communication architecture that can seamlessly integrate applications that will facilitate a more effective local government service delivery to communities, the ability to save time, money, and expand the capabilities of the ministry's human resources and act as an alternative and effective means of communication in times of natural disasters and national emergencies. The initiative is yet another step towards the development and building of internal capacity both at the ministry and municipal corporations level. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.